Hey Venom Network, it's your buddy Spidey here once again, and today I'm bringing you a tutorial on how to make a player detection system. Now this is going to be very basic, but if you want to go advanced into this, then I'd check out some wire tutorials or expression 2 tutorials if you want to make an advanced version of this simple player detection system. And basically what a player detection system does is simply within its name. It can detect players' position, player names, and also it can output text, for example their name and their Steam ID. And this particular player detection system that we're going to be creating is that we want to have text screens that will output the player's name and their Steam ID. And the way in which this can also be utilised is by providing screenshot evidence to, for example, a admin who is basically off duty and the server's in complete chaos, for example. So let's say a thief, let's say called player A, walks up to basically the gate line, hacks into the keypad, let's say, enters in the correct access code and begins raiding my base, and all of a sudden I get killed. Now I would need to get ready and react accordingly prior to them actually, gaining access to my base, let's say. So the outside of the base isn't my property in this particular example, but on the inside it is. So prior to me being killed by that particular thief, I would need to quickly run to the text screens or visualize them from a few feet away, for example, and detect who is actually, hacking the keypad. And this is where the player detection system kind of falls into place. So to begin with, we're going to start by setting it up. So first we're going to create two simple text screens. So go to your Wire tab, go to Visuals, Screens, and then Text Screen. We're not going to use just the screen because what we want to do is we want it to output some text. And what we need to do as well is we need to select the appropriate font. In this case, we're going to use Arial because that's just very simple. We're going to output the color as aquamarine, and we're going to use a simple texture or material, let's say in this example. Okay, so we have two screens, one for the name and one for the Steam ID. And now all we need to do is make a ranger and also have a name chip under the gates selection. So to find the name chip, all you need to do is go to Gates, under Chips and Gates, scroll through the list until you see Entity, the Entity folder, scroll down and look for the name chip. Now, all we need to do here is we need to just, when we wire this up, all we need to do is set the screen to this particular chip, okay? And then we have to send the chip to the detector, which is going to be our ranger. So to find the ranger, you simply go to Detection and then look for Ranger, like that. And then from here, we're going to set the range. You can set the range to, whatever you want. I'm going to set it up to max, which is 1000. I'm going to set it to 0 by default. I also wanted to show the beam so that I can actually see, where the actual detector is. I'm also going to output the Steam ID number. I'm also going to output the entity plus the entity ID or the ent ID. Okay, so these four options need to be selected if you are going to be using this for your own purpose. If you wanted to add some more outputs or whatever, then you simply tick these boxes, but you'll have basically like a list of all of the outputs once you hover your crosshair over the actual ranger itself. So we're going to go outside of the base and we're going to place it so I'm kind of just about hugging the wall, let's say, or the door wall. Okay, like that. Now in the real player detection system, I wouldn't put it at this height. I would probably put it somewhere down here, for example, and hide it, let's say. But for this particular example, I'm just going to be using this height, let's say. So as you can see, it goes right across the frame, and if I walk through, what should happen is that I should have my name and my Steam ID printed on these two text screens. So now what we need to do is we need to just wire it up, or wire the 4 components up. So first what we're going to do is we're going to go to one of the text screens, and this is where it's going to print out the name. So we're going to set the input to string, and then we want to set that to the name chip. So the name is the entity, and then we're going to select the entity chip, come out of the base, excuse me, and then select the output on the Ranger to entity, like that. So what should happen now is that it should print out my name, and then I need to go to the second text screen, select string, come out of the base again, move away from the actual detector, otherwise it won't work properly, and then go to the Ranger and then select the output as the Steam ID. And then go to font, come out again, and then set that to the Steam ID again, then run out again. Now, during the process of me testing this particular system, you probably have noticed on the first text screen, which was this one here, that it actually outputted my name. So for this example now, to test it properly, I'm going to use a camera on the inside. So all you need to do really is imagine that I am a thief, for example, and I'm raiding this base. Okay, so let's get the camera out, making sure that I've got it selected, and I'm going to do it here. Now this is very good if you want to try and read players' details from a distance, rather than having to run all the way up to the front door, because you are more vulnerable to attacks if you were, close to the door. But if you were further away from the door, then this is a very good example of how you can actually see who is actually coming into your base. So I'm going to go outside. I'm going to press 2 on my toggle key. And now what's happening is that I am, well, what you can see is just through the camera, and I'm just, running around, just doing nothing. Okay, so what's going to happen now is I'm going to walk through, I'm going to cross this beam here, or go into it. So if I do that, you notice that there we go, it's printed out my name and my Steam ID right there. Now I have to be, touching the beam, or the beam needs to, detect my movements, let's say. And if I'm met up with the beam, let's say, so as you can see, I've kind of moved away from the beam and then gone back into the, or gone into the beam range. Okay. If I go away from the beam range, you can see that it hides my name and Steam ID. But if I go forwards and then touch the beam, so the beam is touching me and I'm touching it, even though in real life, if you were touching a laser beam, it would set off an alarm. The beam is actually touching me because it's detected that there is, a particular player within its radius, and as you can see, it's outputted the necessary information. So thanks for watching, guys, and hope you enjoyed this particular video. It has taken a very long time to make, but hopefully this will, give you the benefit of, finding out who is actually raiding your base, and hopefully this concept, provides of use to you. So thanks for watching, guys, and peace out, and see you in the next tutorial.